Greetings everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at this Sony TC-K55. And I apologize if you guys were expecting to see the Nakamichi in this video, but I was thinking about it and I came to realize that having just recently done the TC-K61, it's probably best if I get into this right now. While the 61 is still fresh in my mind and I'm relatively cognizant of what these transports need to be serviced, because yeah, the TC-K61 and the 55 both use the same transport, so that's why this is here. You'll remember I mentioned in the last video on the 61 that I was monitoring a certain TC-K55 on eBay as a potential parts machine for that one and other decks, and well, this is that machine. I was watching that auction carefully and nobody was bidding on it, so I decided, what the heck, I'll throw a bare minimum baseline bid on it and we'll see what happens. So as it turned out, nobody bid against me, so I got this for as cheap as I could have possibly gotten it. 85 bucks shipped, all the way from somewhere in BC. So we're going to get into this today. We're not going to do a full service on this today because I'm kind of saving that for next year when it hasn't been like 2 weeks since the last time we looked at this very transport. So yeah, I don't know if this will ever have a full service video on the channel or not. It depends what's wrong with it, I guess, and whether or not I decide to use it for parts or whether it becomes part of the collection. But we'll get into this in a second. First, a little show and tell. Here's what I did last week. This is an ESR meter, thankfully, finally, at last. I've wanted one of these since the 90s, could never afford it, but now I've got one. And the reason why I shot no videos last week is because I didn't buy this pre-assembled. I bought this as a kit, and I put it together myself. It's kind of fun. It's like going back to my teenage years working with the electronic project kits from Radio Shack. Because I kind of miss those days, and I just really wanted to put something together as a project again. So yeah, finally got that going. But wait, there's more. I had another couple of incoming units show up. And I thought you might want to see them now. There's the first one up there. That is a Denon DR M3. I was trying to hold out for the M4 because the M4 is quartz lock direct drive, but no such luck. This one is still direct drive, but it's FG servo direct drive, which means sorry guys, like I said, I'm half asleep. Frequency generated servo motor direct drive. And seller said that this unit did not play, and when I got it, I did fire it up just to see what kind of condition it was in to leave feedback, and sure enough, he was right, it don't play. And unfortunately, it's not going to be as easy as changing an idler on this one, because the idler works on this one. No, apparently the problem is the direct drive capstan. So, yeah. Not exactly the kind of thing you want to have fail in one of these units, because if you have a failure of a direct drive motor, good luck finding another one, at least for very cheap. But yeah, it does turn on at least, so maybe we can do something with it. I hope we can do something with it, because it cost me a lot of money to get that thing, so. Yeah, I do have the parts in for this JVC VCR now. I don't know why the heck it possessed me to buy this thing, because there's a very good chance I can't do anything with it, but yeah, I've got an idler for this. I know the idler is bad in this. First thing I do on these VCRs is I take the top cover off and see what kind of condition they're in. Fortunately, there are no guides loose in this thing. I do know it's been serviced before. I do know the idler is completely shot on this thing, so yeah, I've got an idler for that. So we'll take a look at that by and by when I get sick of cassette decks. Oh wait, there's more. We gotta go into the office for this next one. Okay, so here's the next set of acquisitions. First of all, this Technics vintage audio rack is new. I got that for 30 bucks from a thrift store a couple weeks ago. Actually, that was 1 week ago. Man, time is just flying this week. Anyway, that's new. And maybe you guys can give me a hand with something. See, there's another incoming cassette deck down there. That is a Technics RS M245, I think, with DBX noise reduction. I got it because it's got DBX noise reduction, but yeah, here's my conundrum. This audio rack is intended for my bedroom stereo. And as you can see, I've already got the Sony GX67 ES receiver in it. But here's what I'm kind of thinking. Eventually, this ought to be a full Technics system. And I'm kind of conflicted as to whether or not to stick with the black face components or go with the silver face stuff. So you guys can let me know what you think looks best in here, the silver or the black. Because honestly, I could see this going either way. But yeah, the issue with the Technics deck is I haven't tried to fire that one up yet, but apparently it's stuck in play mode and the door won't open. So I already know what that problem is, if that's the case. So that should be a one video repair job, I think. We'll see what happens. Anyhow, let's get back to today's subject. Okay, back with the TC-K55. Let's just take a little look-see and do a little once-over of the condition of this, just to see what kind of shape it's in, at least cosmetically. It looked great in the pictures, which is primarily why I got it. If I'm going to get something to use as a parts machine, I'd rather have it looking good so I can use knobs and stuff for other decks. So yeah, it's looking as good in person as it did in the pictures, I gotta say. Tape counter resets properly. Switches all seem to do just fine. But yeah, you can see what the difference is between the 55 and the 61 here. The 61 has metal tape capabilities, and this one does not. This one only goes up to Type 3 ferrochrome. So it's basically just like my grandparents' TC-K55 in that regard, except it's got a better transport in it. Well, I don't know about better, because these Sony transports don't seem to hold up very well over time, particularly with that magnetic clutch that fought us so hard last time. But yeah, I'm just real thankful that TC-K45 doesn't have that same clutch in it, because I don't want to deal with that too many more times in the immediate future. I'm actually fairly satisfied with the TC-K61 as it is now. The tension on the reel drive isn't so great that I think it'll snap tapes, so excuse me. Like I said, tired. I'm not happy with the way the clutch seems to bind up in there with the two opposing springs. I think what's happening is the two springs are sort of locking the clutch up, so that you have to get in there and turn the take-up reel with the door off in order to get it moving again. But with that aside, I think that thing is running well enough to actually play tapes again. So I might try and do that. I don't know. Really uncertain about that. I need to get in there and fix the speed on that, but it's probably not that far off. But yeah, same transport on this, so I'm real curious as to whether or not the magnetic clutch is any better on this one. And yeah, the other obvious difference is we've got an analog set of VU meters on this with LEDs for a peak display, which is kind of cool. But yeah, the real mark against this I'm finding is that like I said, there are no wood grain side panels on this, and I'm really just finding this to be Really not the way I would like to go with these older Sony units. I would really prefer to have the wooden side panels. So yeah, it all looks good from here, at least on the outside. Nothing going on in the back here. I don't know if anybody knows the Sony serial numbers well enough to tell me when this was made. But yeah, there's the serial number right there. I don't see any conditions at all. Did I say conditions? I meant condition issues. I hate shooting videos when I'm this tired. My anxiety disorder is going nuts because of all this driving to the mountains I got to do next week, plus the tooth stuff, and yeah. Oh wait, I do see one condition issue. I think we've got some... Yeah, that's a little dirty there, but other than that, not too bad. We'll take the door off because we need it off anyway. Head feels like it's in better shape than the 61s, but the 61 sounds good enough that I don't think I'm that worried about the 61's head condition. Capstan's a little dirty, not too bad. Pinch roller's fine. I think that's acceptable. But yeah, we've got the same BSL motor in this one that we did the 61 because it's the same motor. Using frequency-generated servo control over said motor, just like a direct drive unit, except with a belt, not with direct drive. But yeah, not much else to do but power this on and see what kind of condition the transport is in. So let's do that. She's plugged in and ready to go. Power on. Okay, we've got working lights in the VU meters. That's a good sign. That means this deck was not worked hard like the 61 was. Capstan is turning. Seems to be doing all right there, anyway. Now, what the seller said was he had this playing, but then it suddenly stopped. And what I'm kind of thinking is either that clutch is screwy in this one again, or there's an issue with the tape counter belt, because if the tape counter belt is broken, it will not play. So let's engage playback and see what happens here. Yeah, nothing's happening. Okay, and the counter belt is good because you can see it advancing, and also it's not shutting off. However, it is not turning the take-up reel at all. And the other thing he said about this unit was it didn't rewind unless you stood it up on its side for some cotton-picking reason. Oh, it's trying. Oh, there it goes. Okay, yeah, it's really slow engagement, which I'm going to say is probably due to bad grease. Yeah, it's doing the same thing with fast forward. Very interesting. So we've got to get the cover off this thing and see what's going on with the transport. It's still powered up, so we're going to take a look at the belts. All right. We've got issues. Maybe. The reason we got issues is apparently the capstan belt is fine, and so is the one for the clutch. Everything's turning in there, so everything should be working. I wonder if we've got a solenoid out or something. I'm going to try and make it engage playback, but no promises here. Like I said, this is not a full service video, so I'm going to bring you in here and you'll get to see what happens. You see that little piece moving down in there? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my fingernail in there. There we go. I got it to move. Now let's come around to the front. And it is playing. There is not enough tension on that though. It feels like it's the idler though. It's not the clutch. At least I don't think it's the clutch. Okay, now it's playing back fine again. So yeah, we've got another lubrication issue back in there on that wheel. So I will have to deal with that if I decide to service this deck. But what I'm going to do now is shut the power off, and we're going to take this plate out, and I want to check the idler. See if I can do this in a way that you can see what I'm doing here. It is possible to remove this plate without taking the transport out. And the other thing we got to worry about, of course, is whether or not any of that blue plastic is broken underneath the head. But I didn't hear any rattling sounds to indicate that the ball bearings had fallen out. And where did that screw go? Oh, I see it. Way down in there. I think I need to remagnetize my screwdriver, actually. Never mind. We'll get it out later. Right now, I'm concerned about the idler condition. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic that this clutch might be in better shape than the one from the 61. And I just lost the other screw. Great. Fortunately, that one came out easy. The other one I'm going to have to fish around for. But yeah, one thing I did notice while I was looking at those belts is they're not the original belts. So it's possible somebody got in there and serviced that clutch already. So I'm kind of interested to see what the inside of that clutch looks like. So, I don't know, maybe that clutch will make its way into the 61 yet, or maybe it won't. I'm actually kind of liking this unit, so just trying to get this plate out is fun. There we go. All right, let's have a look on the inside. See if I can bring you in nice and close. Yeah, that is the same transport. All right, let me get a dental pick in here. Yeah, the idler's shot. So that would need to be changed. That belt is not too bad, so yeah, that's been changed at some point. Most likely. Back tension brake. Could use cleaning. Shall we try playing a tape on this thing? It'd be nice to hear this thing to see whether or not it's worth putting the effort into doing a full service video on this. But yeah, I'm going to fish that other screw out and I'll put that plate back in and hook it up, and then we'll see how it sounds. All right, I think we're ready to go here. Kind of tough to fish that one screw out from in there without taking the transport out, but I managed. But something I noticed before we do this little play test, the lamp for the cassette well is out. So it does have some play time. And we'll have to replace that if we ever get to that point. But yeah, I'm ready to give this thing a play test. And of course it's not engaging again. Let me fiddle with that gear again, and we'll get it running. You'll get to see me do this in real time. Well, it seems like it's got enough tension to wind the tape, so maybe I should leave this as is. I don't know. It's not that hard to change that idler once you get the transport out, but the problem is getting the transport out. Okay, we'll stop there. Just a couple of comments. There is a lot of high-end missing on this deck. I'm pretty sure that's going to be issues related to the heads being dirty. I don't think the head is worn to the point that it should be losing any high frequencies, so yeah, that'll be dirty heads, and I know the capstan needs cleaning, and the whole machine really needs a full service, but I just realized I had that on the wrong bias setting. I had it on the low setting, which is for the really old tapes from the 60s. Yeah, this is a really good sounding machine. At least I think it will be. The low end is incredible off this thing. I think it's even better than the 61 is. And that's impressive because the 61 has some really impressive low end. I am just really starting to love how these old Sony machines sound. I really want to get my hands on the 3-head machines now. And also the other intermediary ones between the 55 and the 3-head machines. There's the... oh, there's a lot of them. I don't know. I'm probably a little in over my head trying to collect all of these vintage Sony machines from 79 and 80, but I'm kind of having fun doing it, so I'm not going to stop anytime soon. But yeah, this thing sounds great, and it's going to sound even better once I service this thing. Yeah, it really needs a full service in order to sound its best, but I think there's actually more hope for this than the TC-K55. I hate to say it, but I think I might use the 61 for parts and just fully service this and get this one up to snuff, because clearly that clutch is in better shape than the one in the 61. And I'm betting once I change the idler, it's going to be just fine. And I know I've got another idler, so... yeah, you guys will have to tell me what you think. Do you want to see this being serviced on the channel? Maybe sometime in January? Because that's about when I can get to it next time. But yeah, I'm very pleased with this purchase. For 85 bucks too. It's cheaper than I paid for the 61. But on the other hand, the 61 can do metal tapes. I don't know. You guys will have to tell me what you guys want to see and what you think about this. Right now, I like this enough that I want to get it fully working. So I'm probably going to do that sometime in January. And you guys will have to tell me if you want to see it on the channel. For now, I'm very enthusiastically waiting for the next deck I have incoming, which is extremely special. I mentioned this in a community post, but the TAC-V770 is getting kicked into next year because something even better came along. And that something even better happens to be the tape deck I have wanted since I was 12. So, yeah, it's very appropriate that this being my 50th birthday that's upcoming at the end of November, it's very appropriate that I save that tape deck for that week. So that's what's going to happen. Folks, I've got a TAC-V900X incoming. I cannot wait to see that in person. It's expected any day now. It might even be here as I speak to you right now. I cannot wait for that video. And I cannot wait for that tape deck. But it's going to have to wait because it's for my 50th birthday. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.